We all spoke the same language. We had free energy and could fly all over or whatever. But then the wars happened, and then 5,600 years ago they did that. And then 5,100 years ago is when civilization officially started on the earth, with Ur in Iraq and the Indus Valley, which is in Pakistan, started in 3,100 BC. Now, it's interesting that those two places started at the same year, even though they're 1,000 miles apart. But that is actually the year that conventional science says that's when civilization started, because that's as far back as the oldest dated cities go. But interestingly enough, that's also when the Mayan calendar says the world began, is that exact year. So, not coincidence, huh? But anyways, the Tower of Babel, that's when they took away our DNA and we all speak different languages. And so ever since then, then the Anunnaki aliens had come down, so they were known as the, Enlil and Enki. And I guess before that, they tried to actually kill all of humans. And this is actually written in the Middle Eastern text. That I think Zechariah Sitchin actually translated himself. But the Epic of Gilgamesh is the same story as the Noah's Ark story, and so she says, says this happened 9,500 BC, 11,500 years ago. She said there was a pole shift. Well, she said there was a war, and some of the evil aliens they hurled a comet at us, at Atlantis, which destroyed Atlantis, and maybe that was the beginning of this big war. Plato says it was a war between Atlantis and Athens, and Athens won. But and he was told by his grandfather, whose grandfather told him, who lived in Egypt, and that was written in Egypt. But then all of that burnt down when the Library of Alexandria burned down in 100 BC. But so that's when that happened, and so that's the story, I guess, is that the survivors of Atlantis went out after there was a flood, supposedly. Maybe there was a big tidal wave that destroyed Atlantis, or there was actually a flood. I don't know. She didn't really go into it, but they went in a spaceship to Egypt, and they set up. And before that, there were big cities all over the place, or maybe that's where they set up cities, like survivor cities. After that, one in just south of Lake Titicaca, Tiwanaku. In the Yucatan, maybe, and also then they went there because they're magnetic ley lines. They're places where they could spiritually be more powerful or something. One in the Taklamakan Desert, which is still the ruins there, and then there's big pyramids in western China, I think Tibet. Anyways, around. But anyways, but then we kind of had to climb back, but even in recorded history, the aliens were still coming here, trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do, come in here trying to keep us from learning and ascending, feeding off of our energy, I guess, just getting off on abusing us, because that's how they were abused, maybe growing up, maybe a guy abuses his kid, so he learns to abuse his kid or something. But the Anunnaki and the reptilians were coming here and trying to force their idea of what they thought civilization should be on us, and it's written all over. In the Trojan War, it was the gods who were fighting each other along with the humans. Mars and Athena fought each other, and Athena actually beat Mars, and I guess she said the Greeks of today actually do know, maybe even if it's only subconsciously, but they do believe that the gods were real, of Olympus were real, and they kind of know it. And they lived there then. They were there a lot. Actually, Basar says, there was lots more contact, and so that's why we believed them. That's why we believed in the gods. But then there was another mission of the Guardian race to try to come down here and try to teach us more of the teachings of how to reactivate your DNA and how to be real civilization. And that was Jesus. And she says that there were 3 Jesuses. And that's actually, I think that's what Seth says. Seth said that there were 3 Jesuses and that Jesus was never even crucified. So she's being consistent with Seth. But she said, yeah, there were 3 Jesuses. There was a D12, D9, and then a normal Jesus, normal human being Jesus. And D12 as in, I think, 12th strand of DNA. Jesus came down here, was, I guess you could say, an alien. Half alien, half human. That's why he... His mother conceived without the help of Joseph, and he was doing teachings and teaching all over the place, and they I guess translated ancient texts and was but I guess only 10% of the Bible of what they taught actually exists now because they rewrote it in Council of Nicaea in 325 A.D. But then he started to piss off the Romans and the people around there, who were I guess you said the seraphim, what are they called? The Pharisees and the Sadducees were actually aliens back then. They were aliens who were they were trying to control people. So he pissed them off. So he left. And then there was another Jesus. I guess there were like 2 soul brothers or whatever, or 2 people. Who was teaching the same thing, and maybe he had the same name, and they confused the 2 and thought they were the same guy, but he was teaching too, and he was a 9th strand DNA, so I guess he was connected all the way up to his 9th chakra or something, and he was teaching it too, and he was, but I guess they were supposed to have, because he was part alien with the good alien genes, he was supposed to start a new race. And this is actually like what the Duranty book talks about too, like aliens coming down to try to start a new race to upgrade the genetics, which is a little bit sketchy to talk about that because then it's like gets into racism. Like, okay, well, what you're trying to say that, because everybody knows that the Jewish people are white, so you're saying that what white races is superior to black races, because the Jewish people are the ones who were the closest genetically to the aliens who came down. Like, it's like answer that question. But because I don't believe that white people are superior genetically to like black people. But anyways, he was supposed to, D12 was supposed to, the big good Jesus was supposed to breed with Mary Magdalene, who was like his soul brother, soul sister. But he left, or she wasn't. She got like something happened when she was born. She got taken over. Her soul. There was a walk-on that took her soul, or they fucked up with her DNA or something. But she got fucked, and she wasn't quite as high as she was supposed to. So he was like, "All right, fuck this," and he left. And then D9, I guess, ended up marrying her or something. The other Jesus, the good Jesus. And then the Joseph of Arimathea helped him move off because Joseph of Arimathea was his uncle, or his great uncle. Helped him move over to France, where they started a new line of people. They had babies and started the Merovingian dynasty, who was Charlemagne, was actually part of the Merovingian dynasty. The hippie kings, the long-haired ones. Who were like the biggest dynasty down there. I don't know when exactly they lived, but so yeah. And so I guess the people who were descendants of Jesus are the ones who get abducted the most now. I don't know, something like that. But then there was like a normal Jesus, and he was just kind of like a follower guy. And they were like, and somebody said like, I don't know if it was the good aliens or the bad aliens, but they were like, yeah, I think it was the bad aliens. They were like, yeah, we need to make Jesus look like he was sacrificed so we can like rewrite the Bible or something like that, or make it look like so like if you get sacrificed, then we're going to give you eternal life, and when you die you'll be able to have your own body up in heaven. So he's like, oh cool, kill me then. So then he was sacrificed, and so the one who was crucified wasn't actually Jesus. He was just a proxy or something. But it's interesting that she would say the same thing that Seth did, but Christians wouldn't want to hear that. But then they had those teachings survived, but I guess the evil aliens came who were like feeding off of us like vampires, rewrote the Bible in 325 AD, and they included sin and burning in hell forever.